All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're getting back to basics, the absolute bedrock of modern marketing. In a world that seems to change by the second, what are the core benchmarks, the real fundamentals that you just have to get right? Let's get into it.
This quote, wow, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The speed of change we're seeing is just incredible. I mean, think about it. The rise of massive shopping malls, then the explosion of choice online, and now the total shift to internet buying. It has completely rewired the entire business landscape. It feels like marketers are in a constant race to catch up, in a game where the rules have already been rewritten.
And the stakes, they have never, ever been higher. So many products out there are basically the same, and information flows so freely, which means your margin for error has shrunk to pretty much zero. A single wrong move, or even just moving too slow, can hand your competitors a massive advantage. It could literally lead to a total disaster for your business. There's just no room to get comfortable.
So, when you're in that kind of high-pressure world, what is the real job of marketing today? It's time we completely reframe how we think about it because, trust me, it's about so much more than just selling stuff.
Okay, check out the shift in thinking here. For the longest time, marketing was seen as this simple, linear process, right? You create something, you promote it, you deliver it. But that's not going to cut it anymore. The modern task, and this is the key takeaway, is the strategic management of demand itself.
And that leads us to this really powerful new definition. Marketers aren't just the ad people or the sales team, they're managers of demand. Think about that. Your primary job is to understand, to stimulate, and then to manage the desire for what your company makes. It's a role just as critical as a production manager who's in charge of supply.
Of course, to manage demand effectively, you've got to know who you're actually talking to. And it's never as simple as just one single audience. We have to break down the key players: the consumers, the customers, and the different markets where they live. Now, this distinction is so important. A consumer is the person who actually uses the product, the one who gets the benefit. But the customer is the person who makes the call to buy it. So think about a housewife buying cooking oil. She's the customer making the decision at the shelf. But the whole family that eats the food made with that oil, they're all consumers. As a marketer, you have to win over both.
And look at the different arenas where this all plays out. Notice how the key to success is totally different for each one. For mass market stuff like sodas or TVs, it's all about building an amazing brand image. But when you're selling to other businesses, it's not about brand as much as it is about having a great sales team and being reliable. Take your business global, and suddenly success means figuring out totally new laws and cultures. And nonprofits? That's a whole other ballgame, often about responding to bids. The point is crystal clear. Your strategy has to change for the arena you're playing in. So, with all this complexity, all these moving parts, how on earth do marketers get it right? Well, that brings us to the real core of today's lesson, a super practical toolkit that we call the 6 Rights Framework.
And here it is. This is the central formula for really effective marketing. It all boils down to getting the right product to the right people at the right time and the right place for the right price, and backed by the right services. Sounds simple, but the real trick, of course, is figuring out what right actually means for every single one of these steps.
So let's start with the first one, the right product. This is way more than just the physical thing in the box. It's a whole bundle of decisions. Is your range of options right? Is the quality what people expect? How does the design, the branding, the packaging make them feel? Even the warranty you offer is part of the product. Getting this whole bundle right is the foundation for everything.
Next up, the right price. And believe me, this is just as tricky. The sticker price is only where it starts. The real strategy is in how you use discounts, the kinds of allowances you give your partners, and even how flexible you are with when people have to pay. Every one of these is a lever you can pull to change how a customer sees the value you're offering.
Oh man, getting the right place figured out is absolutely mission critical. This is your entire distribution strategy. Are you going to sell online? In physical stores? Both? How do you make sure your product is available everywhere your customers are? This gets into some really complex logistics, from inventory management to transportation, all to answer one simple question. When your customer wants your product, can they get it easily?
And finally, let's talk about the right promotion. This is the part most people think of when they hear the word marketing, right? Getting the word out there. It's your ads, your PR, your email campaigns, all of it. Every single message, every piece of communication has to work together in perfect harmony to tell one clear, compelling story about why your product is worth it. Okay, let's pull all these threads together. This 6 Rights framework is powerful, but it doesn't exist in a vacuum.
You have to apply it inside a really complex and constantly changing environment, which brings us right back to that high-stakes game we talked about at the beginning.
So here's the bottom line. As a marketer, you're constantly juggling two different layers of the world around you. First, there's the task environment. Those are your immediate partners, the people you work with every day, like your suppliers and distributors. But then there's the broad environment. These are the huge forces, demographics, the economy, new tech, politics, that you can't control, but you absolutely have to adapt to.
And that really leaves us with this final thought to chew on. Modern marketing is a game with almost no room for mistakes. The 6 Rights framework gives you the playbook, but winning depends entirely on how you execute. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, in your business, are you really getting those 6 rights